Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about making a negative space mandala. The question came up on Instagram today, how would you go about making something like this? This was the specific example they were looking to make something like. This is actually really simple in this program, so we're just going to do it real quick. This is Manga Studio 5. It's technically Clip Studio because it's a download. For some reason there's a difference between the download and the actual CD version. Same program, just called Clip Studio if you download it. Go down here and make a new layer just like you would in Photoshop. And we're going to go over to the triangle tool and over to ruler and down to symmetrical ruler. The number of lines, you can drag it all the way down to 2 or up to 16. We want 16 just because. Make sure this line of symmetry box is checked. If not, it'll do a circular pattern rather than a symmetrical pattern. Just going to go to the middle of the canvas, click and drag upwards. This will give us our mandala spiderweb template here. So we're going to go back over to layers and we're going to duplicate the layer. I just right click on it and duplicate layer because we're going to want this later. We're going to hit the little eyeball so you can't see that one. Go to our top layer. Over to the pen tool. I tend to use either the turnip pen or the G pen. Doesn't really matter. Do your own thing. Get a pretty thick size because the lines that we're drawing are actually going to be the negative space. So we're just going to start drawing a mandala. We'll keep it pretty simple because it's a simple negative space. To fix that little thing that just happened, we're going to go over to the colors rather than the eraser. The eraser won't work. Go to the colors, black and white. On the bottom it's clear. So you're going to draw with clear rather than erase. If you erase, it'll only erase it on the one petal, not around the entire mandala. So draw with clear, and then go back to your black, keep going. I tend to have that happen a lot, especially when I have some stabilization on. Over on the left you'll see the stabilization. That helps make the lines a little bit smoother, but it also makes them a little harder to stop, so they do tend to cross on the top like that every now and then, or every time. Doesn't really matter. This doesn't have to be perfect. This is just the template that we're going to start with. This isn't the actual, this isn't the actual art. Art is created on the skin for us tattoo artists. All of this is just preparation to make art eventually. We're kind of off center on the page. So I'm going to go over to the left and start drawing there just to make sure that we don't go off the page. If you go off the page while you're doing the mandala, the program doesn't keep drawing it there like you would imagine. It's just drawing off the screen, but it's not. It actually just doesn't exist off the screen at all. So try not to go off the screen while doing the mandala, or you'll have to fix it. Okay, so here's our basic shape. It's pretty simple. There's not much to it, but that's just the way these negative ones are. This actually could be your stencil. I've seen people put these stencils on just as is, and you basically just tattoo all of the white areas black and leave the black or the purple stencil as your negative space. I'm just kind of fixing up this shape here. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because this is just a beginning point. I don't like to do the big thick stencil and work around it. I tend to make a regular stencil. So that's our next step. We're going to go back to our original spiderweb shape, and we're going to duplicate that layer again, and we're going to drag it on top of the one we just worked with. We're going to take the opacity of our mandala down and go back to our shape on top, click the eyeball so we can work on it. And now we'll go back to black and bring the size of our brush way down. I tend to work around 50. I have this same program on several computers, and the brush sizes seem to be different. It's a different format on the different computers. I'm not sure why. So this is pretty simple now. We're just we're going to outline the outline that we did. That's why it was nice and thick to begin with. So we'll just make lines on either side, and that's why it didn't need to be perfect either, because we can perfect it at this stage. We do want all of our lines to touch, because I'm going to use a paint bucket tool in the end, and if you paint bucket an area where the lines don't touch, it'll turn the entire screen black, or whatever it can get to, it'll turn it black. So you want to make sure each little section is a completed island where all the lines touch. So this might get kind of boring for a minute. I'm not sure I have much to say about this. We are just doing lines. Someone's trying to call me while we're doing this. Clearly they don't know me. No one who knows me would give me a call. I do not speak on the phone to anyone ever, under any circumstances. People who know me will send me a text because it'll get a quicker response. Well, it won't get a quicker response. It'll get a response. If you call me, you will get zero response. I don't check my voicemails. I don't answer the phone. I'm not interested. But I'll answer a text message. Generally, it's just a bill collector or a telemarketer trying to sell you something. Fix all these little overlaps here. No, it's gotten boring for a second. Just bear with me. There's just lots of little lines to do. In the end, though, it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes or so to make one of these mandalas. Sometimes my clients get worried that if I need to design a new mandala for them or something, it's going to be a big deal, and really it's roughly 10 minutes of work generally. Okay, so now that we got all that outlined, we didn't get it all outlined. Okay, so we're going to zoom out and take a look. And there's our mandala. We'll get rid of the original, the underdrawing there. There we go. There's our stencil. So we want to go ahead and duplicate that new layer again because we're going to play with it. So we have some examples, and we still want to keep our line drawing underneath untouched. So the outer line, you can choose to make that a line. These inner areas here is where the coloring will be. So this outer line can either disappear and not be used at all, or you can choose to do an outline around the entire mandala. I like to do an outline around the outer edge. That way you have something to shade off of on the outside. If you want the mandala to be floating over something else, you want to put a little bit of shadow underneath it. So we'll grab the paint bucket tool and just paint all these little islands real quick. There you go. There's your negative space mandala with the little line around the edge. It's really that simple. If you're not going to be doing solid black shapes, we'll go up to the top and click the little back arrow real quick several times. If you're going to be doing a dot work tattoo, you can show a quick example here. There's this shape over to the left. It's a thick line and a thin line. It says decoration. Go there, go over to ruled. It'll usually start off on effect. Go over to ruled, go down to the dotted line, and then you can adjust the brush size and all that stuff. We're going to do a pretty big dot on this one just because we're going to try and get it done really quickly for you guys. Oh, that's way too big. Never mind. Erase that. Smaller dots. We want it to look halfway decent, even for just a quick example video. I'm going to take the stabilization off. That was at 100, which tries to control your strokes too much. I want to be able to just quickly wiggle around, make lots of dots. This is actually happening in real time. It's just really that simple. So now you'll have a dot work example to show your client if you're doing dot work. And again, you just click the little eyeball over on the right to get rid of the dot work, and you'll have your line drawing underneath. It's really that simple. If you want me to do more of these, comment down below, let me know. If you like this, let me know. I really don't have any way to know if you don't click the like button, if you don't click subscribe, if you don't comment. I just assume that you think my videos are shit, and I'll quit making them. So if you do like them, let me know, and you can request things, and I'll be happy to make them. So I think that's it for today. Let's wrap it up.